Hi everyone, Bernard here with the latest Citizen vlog, the latest moments in time. I hope you're all well and thanks for joining me today for the, we're going back to the 2nd of June. I'm going back to the year 2008 and we've got a mutual consent leaving here, haven't we? It's not a sacking, it's not a resigning, these little things called mutual consent, but I tell you what, it's one of the most dragged out mutual consents you can think of. It went on for nearly a month because we all knew it was on the cards by a certain game we'll talk about. Anyway, please, if you're new to the channel, please push that old subscribe button there. Push the bell notifications so you know when these little vlogs and specials are coming out. Obviously in the close season there's a lot of players and managements coming and going and things like this, so a lot of these moments to remember. During the season they're normally games and the odd thing, but obviously during the close season they're going to be these sort of events, aren't they? So please make sure your notifications are set to public as well so you get to hear about all these. Yes, we're talking wonderful, aren't we? We're talking one season wonder, aren't we? Mr. Sven Goran Eriksson, that promised so much, didn't it? I mean, it did promise a lot for City. It was a strange time for City, wasn't it? Mr. Thaksin Shinawatra had just been sort of took over the place. So in July 2007, we see the wonderful news that Sven was going to join Manchester City. This is Sven Goran Eriksson, who a year before, I think he'd been on a sabbatical since, but a year before he'd just finished as the England manager. So we had an ex-England man, well, not the first time we would have an ex-England manager, was it? But he would be the first non-UK City manager, so that was quite a little feat. And I think there's a spring in the step of most City fans. I think most City fans are quite happy with Sven Goran Eriksson. I might be wrong, let me know in the comments, but there are always going to be dissenters. I mean, I'll say something later on that people will agree or disagree with, and that's just, it's everyone's opinion, isn't it? Someone will say, oh no, I didn't want Sven Goran. You know, there's always people who, oh no, I hated him, I didn't want him. But I think generally, I think there was a lot of hope, wasn't there? I mean, I think he was put on about, estimated from the newspaper, about 2 million per year plus bonuses. So I don't think he did so well on the bonuses perhaps in the end of the day. But well, it wasn't chicken fee, was it? 2 million. Signings, well, look at some of his signings while he was at City. Was it again names that, you know, if you talk about City legends, these aren't going to probably spring to people's minds, are they? If you're talking about legends, you got Rolando Bianchi, Gelson Fernandez, Giovanni, Martin Petrov, well, Elano. Well, Elano's obviously one of the ones that always crops up, isn't he? Because it was perhaps the start, hopefully the start of something really big with Elano, wasn't it? Vedran Korluka and Javier Garrido. So no Tom Smith or Bill Jones, was there, anything like that? But yeah, I mean, we did have people like Richard Dunny there, didn't they, to bring us all back down to earth with all these wonderful foreign names. And it was interesting, wasn't it? I think by the third game, I think the win against United put us top of the league by the 3 games in. And certainly up to October, November, I mean, we were always in the top 3 or 4, weren't we? And things were looking quite good. It had promised a lot of things. I mean, don't forget that. I mean, the highlights, obviously, as well as that 1-0 against United, and this is what I point out to most people who, again, pick on a game I'll speak about very minutely in a bit. We actually did our first double since the mid-70s over United, because obviously we went to United and won 2-1 as well, which was quite a memorable game, wasn't it? At 2-0 I was quite happy. Obviously I was panicking a bit at 2-1, but there you go. So yeah, I mean, that was for me was the big highlight. I mean, there was 1 or 2 highlights in the season. Certainly up to Christmas time, there was a lot of hope for a top 4 place, and certainly talk of Champions League football as a possibility. And I think European qualification, I think you could finish in the top 8 in this season, and still get in the UEFA Cup, etc. So obviously, but we were quite confident, weren't we, by Christmas time, but sadly things sort of died a death. Apart from the good win at Old Trafford in February, we struggled a bit, didn't we? I think we won about 3 or 4 games out of the last 17 or 18 games, so we started to all come crumbling down, didn't it, really? And obviously it culminated in the 11th of May. Obviously things were being said at the time where I don't think Thaksin was very happy, and obviously I don't think Sven was very happy. And by the 11th of May we had the debacle at Middlesbrough, didn't we, with the 8-1 defeat, which is still highlighted by our opposing fans now. Before, you know, you get the comment, don't you, before Royal money and 8-1 against Middlesbrough. And I just say, yeah, the same season we also did a double over the champions Manchester United. So where's the logic in that come? But hey, they can have the little fun, can't they? That's all they can do. I mean, obviously, it was obvious from body language, etc., that the players knew something was going on. Everyone knew something was going on, the fans, etc. And obviously the red card for Richard Dunn after, was it 10 or 15 minutes in that game, didn't help, obviously, but there's no way we should have collapsed like that. And after, I mean, I wasn't at Middlesbrough that day, you know, but you have to feel sorry for the City fans who went. And I'm sure the old gallows humour came out, but yeah, it wasn't. He didn't cover himself in. We didn't cover ourselves in glory as a team and the players, even though they may have been making a point. It's you know, too little, too late, and it's a bit embarrassing for the fans. You know, at the end of the day, you're playing for your manager, but you're also playing for the fans. I think about the Wigan game in the FA Cup. I'm going off the subject again, but just talking generally, and you're not really playing for your manager. You know, obviously all the trouble with Mancini. Then, I mean, those fans have gone there. We wanted to win that game, and you just feel a bit disappointed that the players just couldn't put things out of their minds. But we're all human. We're all human, aren't we? So obviously that Middlesbrough game went down in history, and it's one we're still reminded of about now. So, strangely enough, obviously we did finish 9th the season. I mean, obviously ended up. I'll go through the total record in a minute, just very briefly. But obviously that 8 goals obviously put us into a minus on as far as for the season for goals against as opposed to goals scored, and it was a pretty mixed emotion by City fans as well, because this is why I said you might disagree or agree, and I thought, well, you have to agree, because I'm not lying. And both Thaksin Shinawatra and Sven Goran Eriksson sort of had a little bit of a cult status with certain City fans. You know, we liked them both, so it was quite hard, really. I quite liked them both, and I thought both. Well, certainly Thaksin was absolutely useless, and Sven sort of seemed to lack something when it came to the crunch, but. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of still love, because, I mean, there's also a petition, wasn't there? I think that apparently a petition of about 14,000 signatures was given to City to obviously save Sven, you know, to actually keep him. So emotions are running high with the fans. But obviously, even to this day now, I mean, I know Shinawatra, when he comes, you know, he has been to the Etihad, hasn't he? And he still gets mobbed and people shaking his hand. I think Sven Goran Eriksson is obviously greeted warmly as well. So it is quite unusual when you can consider the fact that they both are obviously at loggerheads with each other when it came to the end of the season. And we knew something was going on, because let's face it, it was actually the mutual. He left the club by mutual consent with a £1 million apparent payoff. Foul, rightly or wrong, I don't know, but obviously he still had 2 years in his contract to run, so it sounds probably reasonable. But he left on the 2nd of June. Not unsurprisingly, he was actually announced as a Mexico manager on the 3rd of June. So we know between that even before the Middlesbrough game and that, obviously there was some negotiations going on, because City also the day later announced a certain Mark Hughes, which I've done one of these for as well quite recently, announced a certain Mark Hughes as a manager. So Eriksson went to take over Mexico, and we obviously ended up with Mark Hughes. The other little things from the season, yeah, I mean, his best finish, he only did 1 season, was 9th in the Premier League. This is just taken from the manager booklet that City supplied us with. So we finished 9th. Our win percentage was 42.22%. So not great. I think I'm fairly sure Mark Hughes had a bigger one than that. Yeah, Mark Hughes had a 46.7. So only 42%, but total record 45 games in charge, won 19. I think he got manager of the month, didn't he, as well? I think that first, was it August? I'm not sure he won one after that, but he certainly got one for August that season, Sven Goran Eriksson. 45 games, won 19, drawn 11, lost 15, and goals for 51, goals against 58. So before that last game, it would have been 54 and 50 against. So it was spot on until that last game, unfortunately. So 51, 58. Yeah, I mean, we did get to the quarterfinals of the League Cup. We went out to Spurs, unfortunately, in the quarterfinals of the League Cup. So there was, we almost got to a 2-legged semi-final, but we went out at White Hart Lane, I think, 2-0. And of course, the FA Cup 4th round, we lost to a Championship team and the Sheffield United. Ever do an Eriksson quote on that game in the papers? One of his quotes was, "The balloons were not to blame." So that just about sums that Sheffield United FA Cup game up, doesn't it? And also, the same day, the poor players got all the wallets and money nicked from the Sheffield United changing room. So that was another little highlight for the season, obviously 2007, 2008. So, yeah, so that wasn't too bad. It seemed longer to me with Sven. It doesn't just seem one season, does it? But as I said, Sven and Taxin have both got interesting. I'm sure I'll do something on Taxin at some stage. I don't know what he's up to now, but anyway. Hope you enjoyed that little look at the mutual consent leaving of Sven Goran Eriksson, which probably dragged on for about 5 or 6 weeks, negotiating probably to negotiate how much they were going to pay him while they were sorting out the next manager and while he was sorting out, Sven was sorting out where he was going to manage. So, I hope you enjoy that little look at it, little look at Sven Goran Eriksson is leaving City. City moments in time, 2nd of June 2008. Sven Goran Eriksson leaves City by mutual consent. Of course he does. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please, for all the latest City news, if you're into movies and TV dramas, I do vlogs on reviews and vlogs and information vlogs on TV and DVDs, etc. So please follow me on Twitter at nostalgia_movie or on at Charles Deneen. Deneen spelled D-I-N-N-W-N. So you can follow me on either or both. I sort of link the accounts together. I try to follow everyone back as well. And please, I'm on Facebook at Bird Deneen with links to moviegamenostalgia.com, my little website for old rare DVDs, movie posters from the 1990s and 2000s, and some old board games as well on there. So if you can spend a few minutes to have a look on moviegamenostalgia.com, a thumbs up for you. Yeah, please, thumbs up. If you're still watching this, please give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. And it's nice to get views, but it's nice to get thumbs ups as well. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know in the comments what you think of Sven and Taxin and various things. And were you at the Middlesbrough game? Did you go to that Middlesbrough game? As I say, it probably would have started off depressing, but knowing City fans, we would have seen the lighter side of it. I mean, I've been to many City games where we've been hammered, and we've probably the best atmosphere amongst the City fans is when we're getting hammered. So it's unusual to say, but that's just typical. And a lot of fans are like that. If you're 4 or 5 down, you may as well sing, you may as well enjoy yourself. But if you're 7 or 8 down, sing even louder. Anyway, thanks for joining me today. Hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know in the comments. What have you got to do with the rest of the day? Have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. Let's all look after each other. And hopefully you can join me again for something similar very, very soon. Another moments in time. There's plenty of them. Anyway, this is Bernard saying goodbye for now. Thanks for watching.